Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and Brics explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how Brics impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Shalom, Salama, CME, Shalom. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you are a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. So I'm going to depart from what I was going through in the kingdom and kingdom work. We're still going to have some discussions on that. On the beginning of this what are they, Janus and Jambries time frame, because I believe that our new year is spring. I believe in that particular calendar, especially here on this channel. I believe in a lot of things on this channel that is contrary to popular European thought. And I would say, honestly, popular to European culture. Because the more that we see what's happening, the more that we can actually determine and associate that the European culture wasn't very, and I would say wasn't very, it's not conducive. And it hadn't been conducive. And they did a good job in terms of being able to break us down from our culture. And now we look all crazy because that is, in fact, not our culture that we're emulating. We're actually emulating something else. And at the time of this emulation, the height of it was at that level to where we as a people started to step back and see that something was going on. Something was wrong. And I would say that for these last really 10 years coming about, things were looking absolutely wrong. Things were looking just not well in our spirit. we could see some things and just say, you know what? that's for them, or this is this, or this is that. But right now, that attitude that we had of um, apathy and complacency created the understanding that there was something else that was more to this. And now to where we're at this time frame, 2024, and a lot of people were thinking, all right, 2024, this is it, right? We are getting here, we're getting there, we're getting to, this time of judgment. I myself had thought things were near, and I don't want to give time frames, and on this channel I don't like to give time frames, but I can tell you that things had to take place, because again, it's not my time frame, it's the Most High's. Now we could say that 2024 was, yeah, when the war was going to start. I see a Ninja Firewolf. You know what? Here's the thing. Let's understand what type of war. That is the question. What type of war? Because a couple different things had started. Now, what really started and had been started to me was the economic war. And the economic war that was waged, remember, that economic war was started under what? The Trump administration. Remember, he said, I love trade wars. I win every time. I love trade wars. I win every time. Mm. I was trying to find this. They did a great job scrubbing this one. Let me share this. They did a great job. I'll see if I can fit this website in. Let me see if I can get this into something a little bit more shareable. I just didn't want to have, a 40,000 character. There you go. If you all want to, parse all that together, that's what I didn't want to have happen. But it did. Here we go. Let me present this. This is from Newsbreak. This is as of 20 hours ago from the Mirror. And this isn't what I said. This is what Trump said. Here's the website. Look, nothing is going on with the economy. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. You're making it up. You're making it up. No, honestly, you're understanding how this nation works. Because you're understanding that when this nation goes through economic times and challenges, guess who feels it first? Ding, 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 ding. That's what ends up happening. We end up feeling the fallout first for from any type of economic issues. And if you didn't know, that is the playbook. That's been the playbook since 1619. This is why they don't give you or us or anyone that looks like us any type of special considerations. That was not the design of this nation. That was not the design of this captivity. And the moment that people can understand and can actually begin to articulate that this is our captivity, the moment it actually starts to go well with us because we're beginning to realize we're in captivity. That's the hardest thing for people to realize. No, everything is fine. Everything is great. And then you show them statistics, you show them numbers. Oh, they'll show you numbers from this time 5 years later. And then folks say, you know what? I knew something was going on. I knew something was going on. Let me copy this. This may be. There you go. I think that's a little bit of a better link. And yes, the US did just give around 2.5 million, excuse me, billion with the B. I don't know about you all, but why help out everyone else and you can't help out the people in your own country? That's the question. Because the reality is that again, everybody tried to say, this is our country, this is our land, this is this and this is that. And well, if that was the case, then why aren't they showing it? I don't care what people say, actions speak louder than words. You will know them by their what? Their fruit. Look, and why are you surprised? Why is anybody surprised after 4 years, 1,440 some days, and counting? Why are they surprised? This is exactly what was going to happen with Biden. And it's not just Biden. This was exactly what was going to happen to us because why? Because we began to wake up. Right? The pain threshold. The pain threshold. If your physiology, okay? Your physiology, the way that your body responds to different things, to different environments, to different behaviors, to different conditions. You know, when you are being tortured, your body will only go through a certain amount of pain before your body shuts down from the pain. You will fall asleep. You will pass out. Your body will shut down from the pain. Because why? Because your body will give up and it would rather force you to be shut down from the pain than for you to endure the pain, which then overstimulates your body, and then you will actually die from a heart attack. Your heart will fail. What? Oh, the failure of men's hearts. Wait a second. I distinctly remember that. Luke 20:21-26. And Luke goes off of a precept. Matthew 24, Joel chapter 2. The verses that I like to look at, that I always have as those cornerstone verses, is Jeremiah 50 and 51. Why are men's hearts going to fail? Because why? Because folks are going to be in pain. Jacoba had that earlier this year. What is it going to be? It's going to be pain. It's going to be painful. Shout out to Minister Jacoba. We will be having the uh, end of the year prayer that is tonight. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. But no, family, we are at the end. And at the end of any type of kingdom, before you go to the end, before you spiral out of control, there is economic turmoil. To answer Ninja Firewolf's question earlier, And I want to go back because this all was the precipitation of when Trump said, I love trade wars. And now you have in this very day, in this very age, at the end of 2024, December 31st, at the end of 2024, you now have the president elect saying this. This is from Newsbreak. Donald Trump warns U.S. may be forced into economic depression as $36 trillion debt crisis spirals out of control. Let's face the fact. We hit the threshold for an economic depression. And the fact is this. You cannot go on creating money out of thin air. Let me explain this to you all so you can get an understanding of what is going on, what they're setting the stage for. Warning, warning. By Nina Jude, and Jack Hobbs 20 hours ago. President-elect Donald Trump has warned that U.S. could be on the brink of a depression as he attacked the debt ceiling deal agreed by former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, the president-elect who failed to get a new provision raising the debt ceiling passed by Congress, attacked Democrats on social media saying that they would prefer depression as long as it hurt the Republican Party. In his post on Truth Social, Trump attacked the Fiscal Responsibility Act, which suspended the nation's debt limit through January 1st, 2025, calling it the dumbest political decision made in years. He wrote the extension of the debt ceiling by a previous Speaker of the House, a good man and a good friend of mine from this past September of the Biden administration to June of the Trump administration, will go down as one of the dumbest political decisions made in years. In years, that's what is stated. There was no reason to do it. Nothing was gained. We got nothing out of it. A major reason why that speakership was lost, he added, it was Biden's problem, not ours. Now it's become ours. I call it 1929 because the Democrats don't care what our country may be forced into. In fact, they would prefer depression as long as it hurt the Republican Party. Trump added the Democrats must be forced to take a vote on this treacherous issue now during the Biden administration and not in June. They should be ashamed for this potential disaster. So they're saying in the new year, lawmakers will have to move quickly in order to raise the debt ceiling to prevent the U.S. from defaulting on its obligations. Should it default, several economists have agreed that the result would have dire economic consequences and could even spark a recession, which is what we're already in. Which is what we're already in. And so by January 14th, which basically the lawmakers did not do anything for this debt ceiling that's going on right now, it's a lame duck. They packed their stuff and they said we'll be back in time for the inauguration. And now you have Janet Yellen penning a letter to Congress stating that the department might have to take extraordinary measures. So basically, folks are going to be in a world of hurt. And the world of hurt is going to come because understand what is happening from the U.S. Treasury. The U.S. Treasury is going to have to do its best to be able to spend even more money on the stock market. Understand that what happened back in 2020, Congress authorized the U.S. Treasury to give money to BlackRock. Wait, how do free markets work again if the free markets are done by the government? It's actually not free market. 2020, it was actually called communism. That's exactly what, folks accuse China of. And literally, we became a China. And folks didn't care that we became a China. Hey, this company's going to work. This company's not going to work. This company's going to have a return. This company's not. This company is going to get artificially destroyed and brought out and rolled up into this company. If you didn't know what has been going on in the last 4 years, there has been an extraordinary amount of mergers and acquisitions taking place. An extraordinary amount. Because when your economy begins to die, then folks begin to cannibalize. And as these companies begin to eat each other, because why? Because things are shrinking. The consumer pool is shrinking. The dollars are shrinking. People are not spending. So guess what? The money is starting to dry up. And as the money start to dry up, guess what? These companies can't survive. Yep, and you're right. Starbucks is having its strike. It started in Illinois. You're absolutely correct. Why is that? Because employees want higher pay for an economy that's drying up, because then they don't have the monies to then survive in this economy, because now this economy is in a tailspin. The best thing that this economy can do for all those policymakers and things of that nature, the best thing literally that this economy can do is just let it fall apart. Because, and I say this with all sincerity, I really do. Because the model is broken. Robbing Peter to pay Paul, the model is literally, it's broken. And people can see that the model is broken. I'm sorry. Yeah, survival of the fittest. Yeah, natural selection. Yeah, I hate to use those terms and terminology. But here's the thing, we don't have to worry about that because honestly, the Most High's got it for us. See, in this economic adventure that was really started last April, I'm telling you, family, I'm telling you how awesome and how good the Most High is and how he's been putting things together. In the background, the Most High has literally provided an economic lifeline. And it's awesome to see how he works in his timing. Now, when that will be released, that's the Most High's time. But understand, family, that when you start to see these Agenda 2063s, when you're starting to see all of these things that's happening for fairness and equity and all this other stuff, what they may use for our destruction, let me tell you, the Most High literally turns it around for our good. You can't make this up. He turns it around for our good. Because oh yeah, it's going to get bad. You know, the funny thing is a couple of months ago, I was in a board meeting and I was asking folks, I said, what about, any type of grocers or, being able to ship goods? There are folks farms that have farms over in Rwanda. And I had posed that question because the question was asked, how will our people be able to eat and be able to survive? Because understand that when this thing goes down, if you don't have an economy, it all starts from the macro and it ends up at the micro, and then micro ends up right back at the micro or the macro. It goes big to small, then small eating up the big. If you didn't know that, that was the French Revolution right there. Bad policy design, bad things going on, as folks could say that the French Revolution was actually spurred on by the Haitian Revolution. Some can argue that, and vice versa. And now you have a lot of territorial issues going on, especially in France. And guess who has to come to the rescue? I've told you all that. With my opinion, I believe that America was always designed to be the prison population masquerading as a nation, which is really just a corporation. And its whole design, its whole intent was just to support European ventures. That was it. That's my opinion. I know folks will provide, a lot of scientific studies and, academic journals and things of that nature. But here's the thing, when it's all done, you don't have to take my word for it. Guess what you're going to see? You're going to see everything coming through. You know what? Wow. You know what? Wow. And make no mistake about it, family. Do you understand how incredible this year was for us? I look at things because understand, flip the perspective. Really, flip the perspective. Earlier this year, you had a delegation sent to Rome for reparations. And that thing was so big that it didn't even hardly get any type of leeway. You don't even get it in print. The only thing that they have is the indigenous delegation, and you only see one article. That's so sad. It's sad. But the reason that they have that covered up, we saw the story with our own lion eyes, was because if you didn't catch it, you would miss it. And sorry, family, I'm trying to give you that. Here's the story on that one. It's a YouTube. I'm telling you, they don't even like to put that in print. They don't like to put it in print. Let me go here. I'm going to share this. That's a start. But sorry, family. Let me reconnect that. I'm telling you, they've been giving some problems. Let's start right here. This is the main one.
I ask forgiveness, feeling shame for what we too, the faithful, have done to transform creation from a garden to a desert, manipulating it at our own pleasure, and how much we did not do to prevent it. I ask forgiveness, feeling shame, for when we have not recognized the right and dignity of every human person, discriminating and exploiting it. I am thinking in particular of the indigenous peoples, and for when we were accomplices in systems that favored slavery and colonialism. I ask forgiveness, feeling shame.
Well, that's great, but I wanna bring this back. I'm sorry, I gotta bring this back to this one right here. Because I know not a lot of people wanna understand this. Or, in their position. Not a lot of people want to note that and take this down. Joel chapter 3, for behold, in those days and in that time, I will bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Those days and in that time. Again, shout out to Truth Unedited. Shout out to Gates of Holder. Shout out to those folks that are promoting the truth on out there. Look, Dolio Kosafelik, that's us. Even what the rocks cry out, because do you know that, we are our bones will calcify. Our bones will literally turn into rocks. See, the thing is, I'm sorry, you can ask for forgiveness. However, there's something that has to go on with that. It's, oh, please forgive me. You know, what it shows is it's the lack of understanding, and it's really the lack of straight refusal of what recompense means, because forgiveness and then repairing the loss, repairing the damage, doesn't mean, okay, well, I'm just going to ask for forgiveness. All right, I forgive you. And then you do it again. There's a judgment to this. Yep. And yeah, that's right, Dave. Petrification. Yep. The stones will what? Cry out. The what? The rocks will cry out. And when they went to those burial sites, they tried to go. Look, we at that time, when they look at that time, our people had already started to scatter. And now, look, those apologies, those apologies, if they don't come through, you want to know what? And I'm sorry. You have to, and you know what they did? They literally amplified and they showed their biggest hypocrisy. They displayed it. They displayed their hypocrisy. You want to know why they displayed their hypocrisy? I'm going to tell you. World War II. World War II. And I'll let you know from there in World War II and what happened in 1948. And why that is a recompense that some of those nations are still paying to other folks to this very day. I'm sorry. They know how to recompense, they know how to repair, and guess what? They know how to pay back. So you can't say that they don't know. No, they're what? Actions speak louder than words. It is, it's actions. Actions speak louder than words. This is the action that is not there. But it's not for us. Look, the vengeance is up to the Most High. And guess what he does? He says he will repay. I'm sorry I burnt down your house. You know, they make that person pay for that house that they burnt down. If you steal something, guess what? They make you pay it back. If you take something that doesn't belong to you, guess what? They make you pay it back. But the problem that we have, and the problem that they are now encountering, is that they are mocking the Most High. It's a mock. And now here it is when we tell them the word, because why? Because the word never comes back void. It never does. You can ignore us all you want to. I don't care. Ignoring us is not fixing their problems. Matter of fact, I'm telling you, it's making their problems worse because you can't ignore having a cancer diagnosis forever. You have to make sure that you go through and you start in on some sort of holistic plan to either change your diet, change your health, figure something on out to address and repair your health condition. And they didn't want to do that. Like I said, they wanted to play games. They wanted to say, oh, this got hacked, that got hacked, this got messed up, that got messed up. Okay, yeah, here we go. Let me bring this back. Joel chapter 3. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. This is their decision time. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of decision, the valley of judgment, the valley of thinking about what was done. And if you didn't know what 2025 is shaping on out to, this is decision time. Decision time. I didn't say it. The Most High said it. And there's only so much that they were allowed to mock. They even try to program it in their TV shows. They try to program it, they get the programming from school. There is no God. There is no this. It's just all make believe. It's all fairy tale. And then you even have our people showing on up and spewing out their nonsense. You have our people showing up and they're spewing out their programming. Because we have gone through a programming, and it's very interesting that once you start to become unprogrammed, how easy it is to spot the programming. All the things that made us laugh and had us chuckle and giggle, I can't even watch movies anymore. I can't watch movies that I love to watch because when I watch those movies, now understanding the way that I had been programmed in those movies, it actually makes me feel disgusting. And I cannot wait for when not just our people get that, but I can't wait for when their people get that. And then they double over in the pride and disgust. But in order for them to realize that, see, for us, we don't have to be easily or we don't have to be broken that hard. We get some pain inflicted. We will straighten up. We will fly right. For them, it's a little bit more nuanced. And keep in mind, I did this 20 plus years. I understood this. I saw this in the military 20 plus years. Aren't they afraid that they're going to get in trouble? No. No. Now, when they do get in trouble, it's devastating. How did I get in trouble? How did I get this bad paperwork? How did this happen to me? How is this? And then they're asking those questions, and then they try to come to you to confide. What did I do wrong? What was it that I do? It seems like you do everything right. And what did I do wrong? And I have to, I'm there just astonished, eyeballs open, wide open. And it's like, they told you to fix this like 3 weeks ago. When you see somebody that is getting fired and they are going to HR and they're getting walked off and they're looking at you like, how is it that I'm doing this? Mind you, this is before we're in the bad economy. Now everybody just gets Zoom invites with HR and their manager. And mind you, those Zoom invites are not for promotions. We are ecstatic to let you know that we are giving you this bonus and this pay raise. Oh, did you think it was bad news? Then they switch it up on them because it is. The bonus is that you got a lot more time on your couch, and the pay raises. Look, with your potential, the skies are the limit. But your last paycheck is in 2 weeks. You know what? That sounds really good. So now all of these things that's going on, because why? Because this path of their correction was never going to be that they were just going to self-correct. That was not it. Will you fix it? Will you fix it? Will you fix it? They were never going to self-correct. We told you, we done told you, we tried to tell you, we were telling you. How long have we said this here? We said this for what? For years. It's not the fact that we knew that they were just going to repent and humble themselves and say, you know what? Yes, wow, here we are. I really believe that you're seeing right now in this world, in my opinion, this is my opinion, take it or leave it, this is my opinion. I believe that what you see going on with Brics is that valley of Jehoshaphat. Get on board and build the bricks, or you're going to get crushed by a dozen. You're going to be crushed by that wall. To me, that was the setup. Because why? Because the Most High will cause and use other nations to do what? To fulfill his will. And I believe that that's happening right now. You saw the setup occurring 2021, 2022, 2023. Brics was getting really, really active. 2024, Brics got very active. They got their pay system out. So what do you think is going to happen 2025? You got an alternative economy. But I'm afraid. I'm afraid that, you know, when the dollar does this or the dollar does that, they're now bracing themselves for that moment of impact. And if you didn't think that that was the case, I want to let me finish up reading this, and then from Joel chapter 3, and I want to go and look at something that had been, released within the day. I'm telling you, we only have in my what I'm looking at 15 hours left, less than 15 hours left in 2024, and who knows? Joel chapter 3, at going to verse 2 again. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. You just saw that from the Pope, or not the Pope, one of the cardinals. To ask for forgiveness, because why? Because they're the ones that literally provided the edict. We would be more. I said I would be more receiving, me personally speaking, if they were just tell the truth and not try to sugarcoat it. Because when you try to sugarcoat the truth, they're just making it worse. Because then it sounds very, disingenuous. They said they were accomplices in what? And scattering among the nations. And they were also accomplices in what? And parting the land. Joel chapter 3 and 3. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Can you say all of those scandals? They're just doing the same exact thing as their forefathers. That's it. You want to know why we know that they are not going to repent even to the very bitter end, even when they see what has happened? Because what is happening to them is what has happened to us. That brought us out of our that brought us into our captivity. See, the great thing that we are able to see, what we're able to see here is the exact same thing that brought our forefathers into captivity, because they're demonstrating the same type of heart. They're demonstrating the same type of attitude. They're demonstrating the same type of pride and haughtiness and vanity. The Most High has literally given us a case study. I'm showing you this so when you go back, you will not do any of that. Wow, what a blessing. Yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, on all the coast of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? Because why? Those words mean nothing. I'm sorry. Words mean nothing. Because why? Because this is the day and this is the time that folks can see the lip service is not what their heart intends. Oh, you want to say, please forgive you. Hey, listen, that's beyond me, because I know that you don't mean it. So I know that the one that will be able to vindicate me, the one that will be able to fight on my behalf, the one that will be able to restore me, the one that will be able to repair me, the one that will be able to recompense me and to lift me up from a lowly position that you all had placed on us. His name is Yahuwah. And that's our Heavenly Father. You can lie to us all you want. And that's what they got comfortable with. They got comfortable with lying to us. And now we're just at this level. Okay. All right, it is what it is. But see, here's what they have, and this is what they don't like. This is why I don't like to read the scriptures, since they are the authority of their Christ. Because they don't like this. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly, pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold into the Grecians. Who? The Grecians. Which are who? Which are the Romans? Which is Europe? Which is the Western nations? Have you all noticed why you have Brics? Have you all noticed why they get so mad about Brics? See, Brics wasn't a problem. Do you realize that Brics wasn't a problem, wasn't a threat until this year? You realize Brics wasn't a problem or a threat until after November? And literally, I've counted it since when Trump had made that declaration regarding Brics. In less than 6 months, in less than a month and a half, because what was that? Right after Trump had been elected, he set his sight on Brics. I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you pay. You're going to pay 100% tariffs. You're going to pay, all these ungodly, unconscionable things. And the people are eating it up because why? Because they got a new target. Okay, we have every single boogeyman rolled up into one. We got our North Koreans. We got our Iranians. We got our Russians. We even get a twofer, man. We even get we get China and we get India. But to me, India is still kind of a misnomer for them because man, that H-1B visa discussion had folks up in arms over the last week. Over the last, 4 or 5 days? Oh my goodness. Yeah, they didn't really like Brazil. Now they really don't like Brazil. South Africa, yeah, they're trying to flex on South Africa. Here we go. Joel 3 and 6. Let me continue this. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have sold unto the Grecians, Europeans, that they might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. Do you understand? He's raising us in the lands of our captivity. He's raising us in the places where we had been scattered. He's raising us. All of us that are here, all of us that understand who we are, all of us that are walking in this walk. Look, not everybody is going to get it. I get it. You have your comedic folks, you have your 5%ers, whatever percenters. You have anything, everyone. But guess what? All those that are tied to Judah and Jerusalem. We weren't going to get perfect. We were just being raised. We were just being able to understand the issues that were going on, the dynamics. We were able to start to read the situation. And now, look, I look at this in terms of raising. That's the raising of our voices. And our voices have been raised. And I tell you, our voices have been raised at a global level. Don't think that we do not have any type of global implications. We do. It's just that they don't want you to understand that our voices far surpass their voices. Have you noticed how they got mad because, we're no longer all of that controllable? But here, I'm going to put folks here in the Black Caucus. See, they're black and see they're pro-immigrant, all the things that actually hurt us. See. As I had stated yesterday on Q2A, the election hurt them. The election hurt them because it showed that as a people, I would say a large majority of us did not participate as a people. And I believe that they're so embarrassed with the lack of participation that they don't want to publish those numbers. And if they publish something, then guess what? Then it's going to be revised, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later? So even what they do provide, it's going to be a lie. Even what they do promote, it's going to be a lie. Because now, and what they've done to try to insulate the judgment that's occurring right now as we speak, the question that people are going to be asking is, well, is that a lie too? I'm telling you, their credibility is shot. See, and when you have a shot credibility of a country, of a nation, then guess what? Then people have to take a look and they have to ask themselves, what else are we being lied about? See, the foundation that's been built on lies, it never stands. It never stands. Well, couldn't you have just told me the truth anyway? Well, if I told you the truth, then you would have gotten your passport and you would have left. If I told you the truth, then it would have been hard for me to manage these Negroes. Yeah, I may have lied to you, but the lie, it wasn't really for you per se. It was mainly for them, because the more that they believe the lie, the more that we have control. And guess what? Uh, the better off things will be, because they'll be working towards insulating the lie. Do you get that? But Joel 3:7 says, "Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them." What does that mean? That means that we are being raised, we are having understanding, we are having the ability to see beyond the picture that they want to paint, to allow us to have the forethought and the knowledge and the understanding of the images that they want to create. They love creating images. They love creating images. See, let me show you this. Let me paint this picture. Let me give you this scene setter. Let me give you this. They love those stories. And what we're not buying anymore, we're not buying their stories. And that's the problem that is being encountered. What are we doing? We're raising ourselves up from the lie, because we have been sold into a lie. That's part of our captivity. Our captivity, yes, thank you, Minnie Kieta. Our captivity was being enthralled in their what? In their vain imaginations. See, here to me is why I love reading these script the word. I love reading these scriptures, because when you're starting to understand how it makes a lot of sense, then you understand this. Let me continue reading this. Joel chapter 3, verse 7. And will return your recompense upon your own head. The Most High is literally returning their lies upon their own head. I've never seen so many videos. I've never seen so many TikToks when folks are leaving out the country, and they're going out the country and they're saying, yeah, people don't like us. These nations don't like us. See, understand what the nations are doing is they've had to deal with the lie, and the hush money of that lie is no longer there. And because that hush money of the lie that's no longer there is occurring, these nations are now gearing up. Because why? Because nobody wants to be caught in a Ponzi scheme. When I always thought about why would they come through in Jeremiah 50 and 51, why would they descend on America like that? Why would everybody be given blows? Jeremiah 51. I said, I see, I get it now, I understand. People are going to be losing their money. And really, that's what's happening right now. They're losing their money in the American Ponzi scheme. That's why they're trying to sell off these bonds. They're trying to get on out before the value is worthless. See, when you understand how monetary policy goes, they try to make it all complicated, right? Because they want to make it complicated because they're just trying to do word salad. Let me twist this on up. Let me get this twisted on up. Let me get this that you can't really, understand it, and you look all crazy because you don't want to ask the questions, because then the question that you ask makes it look like it's too obvious. That's what happens. That is what has happened. And now they are getting that understanding, because understand, nobody wants to be broke. What were they doing? We were sold to what? To these other nations. These other nations, and it's not that I would say this. I would say it's probably maybe a transliteration here. The more I look at it, I don't know if it's actually that we have been sold or we just got rented out. We got leased. Or maybe it was sold and they just continue to pay in perpetuity. Pay for a forever price. Hey, your hands are on this, so I'm gonna pay you this. And that could very well be what we're seeing. Because now folks' money's looking funny. And their banks are literally saying that they can't. And now their credit is definitely not going to get it. What is happening? Why is this happening? Because the moment that we raise up, the moment that we raise our voices, the moment that we are declaring who we are as a child of Yahuwah, that we're covered under the son of the blood of the son of Yahushua HaMashiach. The moment that we're understanding our authority, guess what? We get a chance to quote back these scriptures to the Most High, our Heavenly Father, and say, Father, your word states, Father, your word declares. And what does that say? See, when you understand these things from that kingdom mindset, your authority, your role, your rulership, these scriptures start to make a lot more sense, because you are declaring things that has already been given authority to you. This is why they don't want you to say these things, and they get mad. Because why? Because when you're saying, look, the Most High says, Joel chapter 3 and 8, and I will sell your sons and daughters into the hand of the children of Judah. Why? Because the Most High said, no, they're going to give me back my wealth. I don't care what they're going to do. I don't care how they're going to do it. They will owe, because the Most High has declared it. And guess what? And they shall send them to the what? Sell them to the Sabaeans. Oh, you don't have my money? Well, guess what? Here you go. See, what was done to us is actually going to be done to them. This is really the dynamics. Because I know in our awakening, we came through and everybody gets emotionally flustered and everybody gets this and this and this. And then we hadn't really taken the time to truly, fully appreciate what the Most High was literally saying here. As we're leaving, they are now in a lease program to where now these European nations are doing what? They're paying us back. Because why? It's not because I said it. I have nothing to do with it, for real. I'm just saying this is what the Most High is going to do. Because why? Because the Most High is going to enact this. Because it says, for Yahuwah has spoken it. Joel chapter 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Gentiles, where you at? It's time to stand up. Gentiles. Actually, I want to say this because I want to give a little bit of a better mechanic to this. Because as you see here in Joel chapter 3 and 6, right? You have the Grecians. All right, let's play special note of this. You have the Grecians right here. I have it highlighted. Now you have this. In Joel chapter 3 and 9, you have Gentiles. I would argue this. I believe that the Most High is talking about Grecians as the heathen nations. There's a distinction that's being made. There is a distinction that is being drawn up here. Because then in 3 and 9, it says this: proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Because it could have been said, well, proclaim ye this among the Grecians. So I'm going to use some deductive rationale here. Just bear with me on this. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Gentiles, if you're listening. And I don't believe that those are Gentile nations directed towards the West. So let me have an insertion here, if you will allow me to have artistic creativity based off of what we're seeing here in the context of the contemporary understanding the Most High's word. To me, this looks like this: proclaim ye this among Brics. proclaim ye this among Brics. Prepare for war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Let me tell you this. Why? Why did I say Brics? Because all Brics is lottie dottie, we're trying to party. We're drinking the gin and not trying to hurt nobody. But the Most High is saying, no, that's not going to be the case. You are going to go to war, beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. Strong to go against who? Joel chapter 50. Or excuse me, Jeremiah 50. To go against who? The hammer of the whole world. To go against who? Babylon. To go against who? Those that have made them think that they're weak. Now we beat the Brics off of these folks. And now they're about to get hit with the brick. Let the weak say I am strong. Well, guess what? Our captors don't say that they're weak. Come on now. I have never heard this nation say that they are weak. I've heard some other nations say that they're not as strong as they want to be. And I've heard some nations say that, listen, now we're a very weak nation. We really can't get it together. We really can't get this thing right. And now the Most High is literally saying this. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Hey, Brics. You didn't realize that the Most High was literally bringing you all together. He was getting you into the Valley of Jehoshaphat. And guess what? Now you all thought that you're going to make your money, doing trade and everything else. Not so fast. You've been recruited. Do we all see this? Because let me tell you, if we're seeing this, guess what? They've seen it. The tabernacles of Teman, the wise men of Esau, of Edom. They're seeing this. They understand it. See, they've understood this before they've even said it. They understood where this was coming to a head. They were trying their best to avoid this valley of decision. Everybody was, but guess what? Guess what? Our voices got louder and louder and louder because why? Because we were starting to get raised by who? By the Most High. That wasn't our authority, that was his. That wasn't our voice, that was his. Because he was doing the raising. Come on now, let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and get this together. Joel 3:11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither calls thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahuwah. So he's talking. He's getting the Gentiles, ready to fight the heathens. Let me here we go. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen. Gather yourselves together round about. Thither calls thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahuwah. The Most High is causing everything to come together. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of decision, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Because why? Because he's bringing up a nation to judge them. He brought in Brics to judge them. The European nations are now being judged, and Brics is going to lay down the judgment. It says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. The Most High is causing this. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is right. Come, get you down. The press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. There is only so much the Most High was going to allow. Multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of Yahuwah is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. I want to say, I'll give it Brother Jacob on this. Can I say smoke? Can I say those new ear? Can we say? Joel 16, 3 and 16. Yahuwah shall also roar out of Zion. What? Listen, family. Yahuwah also shall roar out of Zion. What? As this stuff is going on, do you understand what we're doing? We're giving the Most High praise. We're giving the Most High praise. Did it say that the voice of Zion will tremble? The voice of Zion will be a little church mouse. Oh no, this is happening. No. Oh my goodness, no. It says Yahuwah also shall roar out of Zion. Why? Because our mouths and our shout and our praises are coming out of our mouths, out of our people. Aren't you? I don't like you. You want this thing to happen? What about your sons? What about your daughters? What about this nation? What about this? All I'm gonna say is hallelujah. And that's what we're gonna be screaming. Hallelujah! Glory! Yes, Father. How can you be shouting like that? How can you be roaring like that? Aren't you afraid of what's getting ready to happen? Yahuwah is my strength and my shield. Yahoo is my strong tower. Yahoo is my refuge. See, I'm telling you this because when these things happen, something is going to turn on in our community like a light bulb. Something's going to turn on like that. And when that light bulb turns on, it is going to be very, very devastating. Because why? Because that really, to me, it means that the people not just are waking up, but they're also shouting. They're also roaring. They're also having a deafening declaration that is being felt throughout the world. Why? Why? Because here it says, Yahuwah shall also roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahuwah will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Come on now. While they're fighting, we are. While they're fighting, the Most High is doing something unbelievable, unimaginable. While they're fighting, the Most High is shaking the earth. While they're fighting, the Most High is being the hope of his people and the strength of his people. I thought that they were going to be in the fight. No, that's not on us. That's on y'all. So shall ye know that I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore. And I would say no strangers pass through her in terms of you can't come through with any type of craziness. You're not going to come through with any type of strange doctrines and strange philosophies and all these other strange things. Nah, we've learned that. I'm not even going to entertain it. Because why? Because the last time we entertained that mess, we ended up in captivity. That's never going to happen. Ever. Well, I'm just saying, just trying to give it some thought. I'm just saying, no, never going to happen. We're done with our captivity. See, we're coming back to the land. Joel 3, verse 18. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come out of the house of Yahuwah and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. And I believe Egypt in terms of bondage. I believe that is these nations that have held us captive. They're destroyed. We're no longer there. They're a desolation. Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. For the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed blood in their land. Don't get it twisted, family. This is their land. This is why they're being judged. This is their land. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for Yahuwah dwelleth in Zion. We're going back. And the reason I tell you we're going back is because now they are running to get things started. And, I wanted to get out the Michael Jackson, want to be starting something, but I ain't trying to get no more YouTube strikes, violations, you name it. So I just dropped that link there in the chat. Here we go. Chinese hackers accused. Or excuse me, Chinese hackers accessed workstations and documents in a major cyber incident, Treasury says. This was updated as of this morning today. Chinese hackers remotely accessed several U.S. Treasury Department workstations and unclassified documents after compromising a third party software service provider, the agency said on Monday. The department did not provide details on how many workstations have been accessed or what sort of documents the hackers may have obtained, but said in a letter to lawmakers revealing the breach that at this time there is no evidence indicating that the threat actor has continued access to Treasury information, and that the hack was being investigated as a major cybersecurity incident. And it says Treasury takes very seriously all threats against our systems and the data it holds on, yada yada yada. The question that I have, because in this, it says in Beijing, a foreign ministry spokesperson gave China's standard response to hacking allegations. We have repeatedly stated our position on such groundless accusations that lack evidence. China consistently opposes all forms of hacking, and we are even more opposed to the dissemination of false information against China for political purposes. And that page just crashed on me. I always look at things of that nature because here's my rationale on that. I'm gonna some folks here on Twitter, folks are very, very weary about things of that nature. Again, as I had said, when, the lies that have been shared by, just about everything. Folks they'll question. And I'd say, let them question. TRT World says the U.S. Treasury says it's been hacked by a Chinese group using a stolen key. And then this person, a lot of folks are asking the question, what is really happening? A lot of folks are wondering, was this something that was actually there? I don't know. I'm just honestly on the outside looking in just like everyone else. But what I do say and what I do question is this. You know, China has had a lot more major hacks, even within the US government, especially the DoD. This person says the media lied. AG Garland did his job. US Treasury says it was hacked by China in a major incident. But this person here says pretty sure it was the US government that hacked the US Treasury. We love to do bad stuff and blame others. I mean, folks are reacting. To me, that was my question. If you were going to do a major hack, this is just me. Yeah, exactly. That's really what it is. Make way for CBDC. That's exactly what it is. If you were really hacked, what is the intent if they're going to expose themselves in a hack to grab what unclassified materials? What? To me, the story makes no sense. They grab stuff off of where you can find it on the internet in dark web areas. that's that's that to me that's hilarious. Literally run of the mill documents. That's what I'm saying. Like, so they're declaring an all-out war on a cybersecurity incident that only targeted unclassified documents. It makes no sense. And here's the thing, you know it's not going to make any sense because then they're going to blow it on up. Well, this is why we need to take Taiwan, and this is why because of their technologies, and then their technologies, they're getting unclassified documents. Shoot, they can get access to classified documents with their with their spies that they have located everywhere. They're going to really do that, threaten war and everything else. It was tied to China because the Apple computer, their Apple laptop, was made in China. How do we know? This is why we need to get, all the microchips from Taiwan. I'm sorry. I am dealing with. There's a level of skepticism that's there. It doesn't really pass the smell test for me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Now, if they said that, they went through and they hacked the system and, they messed up with, you know, banking operations and, other financial, secondary financial operations background that they disrupted, the treasury from paying BlackRock to, keep up the stock market, that's really crashing right now, but the US is still borrowing billions of dollars to prop up the stock market every single day. That to me would have been a plausible story. That would have been more plausible. I told you, man, they fired all the black folks, so they don't even have any good stories anymore. This is what happens when you get rid of us. That's Joel, chapter 3, all day long. Which means to me, yes, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, they've lost too much money. So now they have to go after China. Now they have to have an open conflict on China. China hacked and they probably stole and they probably. Hey, I mean, if that's the story that they want to say, I'm going to tell you. That's their story. But we've gotten used to the level of nonsense because that's the arrogancy, right? Well, they're too dumb. See how the tables have turned? And now you're having Gentiles sitting on out here probably thinking, man, they really think that we're stupid. And the reality is, yes, yes, that is exactly what they think. And we told you that. They use you all to inflame the division. They use you all to inflame the chaos. to do the gaslighting. They use you all. And you all will go unabashedly to do their work, to do their agenda. And we've told you what they do, and we said what they do, and we explained what they do. This is why we would have healed Babylon, but she what? She refused to be healed. You didn't want to be healed from the cancer. So now this cancer is about to make sure that y'all get eaten up majorly. And now here it is. You can come over here asking for forgiveness. But I'm going to tell you, forgiveness is actually in the actions. To return things, to provide things, to be in service. Because anything else that just says, well, I'm sorry, and then that's it. Sorry for what? Oh, I'm just sorry. I'm just sorry. No big deal. I'm just sorry. Do you even know what you're sorry for? I'm sorry. See, what ends up happening is nobody really believes that anymore. And that the genuine compassion is not there. And now the world has a lack for compassion of the United States. And you could tell that that's a dud story to me. Yeah, if they really wanted to do some damage, they would go after the banks and then wipe out credit card debt and student loan. That would be something. That to me is other than that, you go after the treasury for what? You go after the treasury because why? I think the treasury's still paying China. For what? Oh, well, that hack, it actually affected you all, and therefore we can't pay you until we get all the bills. Till we get all the things sorted out with your information that you all hacked that's affecting only you and no one else. Guess you all shouldn't have hacked yourselves. I mean, you all shouldn't have hacked us. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. I have to. I go with that level of skepticism as new details emerge. It's going to be significant. Yeah, look, look at what it did to the accounts that had China. It's going to take us some time to pay off China. Oh boy. Well, don't worry, we can rest easily because that January 14th day, it can get pushed to the right a little bit more. Maybe the 24th, instead of the 14th. Maybe next year. I'm all I can say is we have a few more hours of this year. And then really we are on that countdown. And let me tell you, this economy is not doing any better. You can have stocks, bonds, but at the end of the day, those are just the reportings of companies. I think people even forget what stocks and bonds actually mean. Because at the end of the day, you can have as many bonds, you can have as many stocks. But if your company isn't doing well, then guess what? What happens if a company has to declare bankruptcy? Part of the first thing that the company has to do in declaring bankruptcy is that the company has to they got to offload their bonds, or excuse me, their stocks. Wait, I'm the stock right here is it's worth $1,000 in my portfolio. It's I have millions of dollars in this stock. Because let me tell you how they're going to get them. When Trump was saying Great Depression and things of that nature, let me explain to you how this thing goes. You can have your stocks, you can have your bonds, you can have whatever you want to have. But in the matter of stocks, and I remember seeing this with First Republic. I remember seeing it with First Republic now less than 2 years ago. This happened to them February, March. First Republic was a bank. And people, obviously you're trading stocks in the bank. Because the bank had defaulted, it was, it was in bad shape. It basically had to be reassigned. And I think I forgot who ate it up. I think it may have been eaten up by like Chase or Bank of America. It was one of them. And I distinctly remember that because at the place where I was working, that did happen to be um, the client. And we witnessed, because I was able to see, how bank operations work. Because, folks were getting, the information. Hey, they stopped paying the bills. They stopped, showing up to meetings. Um, can't get a hold of anybody. That's literally what happened. They couldn't get a hold of anybody. They were only able to find out that something happened when you had like CNBC and Fox News reporting on it, Fox News Business. Because you had about, I think, 3 or 4 banks at that time had gone down. But to see that bank in real time, because First Republic was a Silicon Valley bank. That was part of that investment capital type thing, when these rich cats, they get the fat cats, they get the funds, the monies, and they put it in the banks to fuel their Silicon Valley ventures. So technically, that was a venture capital bank. What was happening was the venture capital, they really weren't holding deposits like that because the bank was just designed to invest in other ventures and then take profit from those ventures. And it hadn't done that. It was just investing, wasn't able to realize any type of profit. And at the end of the day, they defaulted. But what they were trying to do with the stocks and things of that nature, they still wanted it, publicly traded. And so folks that think that they literally had, I think, $50 worth of stock. Oh, it's a good company. It's strong. It's doing this, it's doing that. And then they got in trouble because they cooked the books. And the FDIC had to come through and take control of the bank. And then it got eaten up by a larger bank. But the reality of that was seeing firsthand of you had a little merger and acquisition process that took place, within the course of 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, they came through, they negotiated, they said, "Hey, this is it, this is that." First Republic said, "Deal," right? And then they shut down the bank, and then they had to notify their shareholders. We're giving you your monies based off of the merger and acquisition proposal. And those that thought that they had literally $50, right? So imagine if you had 1,000 shares at $50, you're thinking that you have $50,000. Because I got 1,000 shares, I'm at $50,000. What people were trying to do, they were trying to sell their shares so fast before the company had to declare the share price of the recoup. By the time that all ended, that share price, I think it was like about 30, it was between like 30 and $50. Especially when I had noticed. It literally sold for pennies on the share. Pennies on the share. I'm going to hold this. This is my wealth. I'm going to hold this share. And really, you can't hold a share because once it defaults and defuncts, it gets bought back. And then, everything's electronic. What they'll do is they'll just send you the check. Here it is. Your shares are now worthless because there's no more company. Yeah, that was first some notoriety from Nancy Pelosi. I think that was it. The first republic. Yeah, she skated out of there unscathed, with some, insider trading potentially. More than likely, more than probable. But when people think that this system is secured, do you think that that the problem here, and I would say arguably speaking, 2023 compared to right now was a whole lot better financially shaped than we have here at the end of 2024. So now, as these things are going on, all these companies are going to be restructuring. Hey, we got taken over by this company. We got taken over by that company. Hey, we're now this. We're now that. They can have a game for a while. They played the game for a while, but the game only lasts for so long. It really does. That game can only last for so long. And truthfully speaking, as the game just it starts to deteriorate, it's a long road, and then the destruction's just people are gonna be like, man, that was instantaneous. That was a blink of an eye. So if they're ending the year like this, how do you think they're gonna begin the year? How do they begin the year if they're gonna end the year like this? That is the question. But I'm gonna say this, so folks aren't Yeah, it's gonna be fireworks, all right. So folks that that they don't to be balanced, and it's not all bad news. It's not, because let me tell you, on the African continent, it's actually all great news. It's all great news. It's all smiles there. And I'm going to be laughing when the leaders, when they start to unveil how they have progressed as a society here within these next 12 to 18 months, how their infrastructure projects have been progressing within 12 to 18 months, how much they are working with the diaspora. Because here's the thing, do you think that then things are able to get better or get worse in terms of infrastructure? I'd imagine for me, infrastructure is going to get worse. Bridge safety, all the other good stuff, road repair. Is anybody going to fix these roads? Because then people are going to ask, well, what tax money? See, understand that's how decline happens in the economy. If you can't fix your roads, you ain't got no economy. And slave labor is not going to cut it forever. Excuse me, I mean prison system. Because they'll even take money to feed the prisoners. So now understand, family. These are the times that we're living in. Because when that's the way that is the way that capitalism works. Capitalism is not Ubuntu. Capitalism is literally the opposite of Ubuntu. I am rich because you are poor. That has been their model. You think that that model was dead with Greece, with Rome, with now this new age, this new system? No. I would argue that this model has been the model even during Yahusha's time. But it works if we participate in democracy, and democracy, you vote, and your vote. How many times do we hear that? You got to vote. Don't complain. You got to vote. But even when you voted, they still lied to you. Even when you voted, there's not going to be any jobs for Americans. You got to get good folks. They literally dissed every single American. That was the ultimate diss. Yeah, we want to get you jobs, but the jobs that we have are jobs that you all can't fulfill. So we need to go elsewhere. H-1B visa. No, we need to expand more. Wow. Second Esdras 15 right there. But then the question would be, who in their right mind would want to come on over here, especially during a time of economic decline? Especially when their countries are actually doing a lot better. So yeah, family, this is something interesting. But I would say, please do not get discouraged. Yeah, they'll say go back to Africa. Yeah, yeah. We're doing this over there. We're doing that over there. We got this project here. We got this. You're doing what? What? What's going on? What's happening? So you show them what's happening in Africa. Then they'll be asking, I want to go. But I'm going to tell you, I also believe that Africa is even, they're closing the door. And they see that that door is being closed on them. And that's a difficult thing for them to handle. But honestly, what can you say? You know, they would have been healed. They really would have been healed by being able to really treat people right. to have an empathy for people. But now now they're at odds. And I look at this with the treasury hack, you know, it's a catalyst for something. That's all I can say. It's a catalyst for something. Hey, we got to help our people. We got to spend more for our people. We got to do more for our people because of what China did. You never know how they're going to spin it. We got to steady ourselves. We got to get positioned. We got to do this. We got to do that. Because at the end of the day, what they're also going to say is, look, it was their fault. It was China's fault. Don't worry about this over here. It was China's fault. When that doesn't work anymore, then you already know the traditional punching bag, the traditional victual, and you know that that's always us. But, if anything, I would say, look, now is definitely the time to work together, to move together. Because our efforts on the continent has begun to bear fruit. And those are through the relationships that we are able to build with our brothers and sisters. Nothing that we've done has been in vain. And it is pretty awesome seeing what the Most High has been doing. So yeah, family. I had the link open, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'll start to close things down from here. Please join me tonight on Teo Ministries for our end of the year close out prayer. I believe that the Most High is getting ready to open doors. Matter of fact, I know that the Most High is getting ready to open doors. I've seen it. There are things that he's getting ready to do. Which is really quite wonderful and amazing. Because you know what, when you get to that very end, you always go through things. You always do. Right before, the dawn, right? It always gets to the darkest. Right then and there. It is a breaking. It's a breaking of the flesh. Well, here's the thing. Would you have it any other way? Man, you already know how the Most High moves. Would you want to have a move any other way? And I would say, honestly, I thank how the Most High moves. I thank him because the way that he moves to put you in a position to where you will be uncomfortable because it's all for his glory. How did you do that? I don't know how I did it. It wasn't me that did it. That was him. But the blessing is that I get to be a blessing to our brothers and sisters. That's the blessing. And that's how we are to move in this time. That is really and truly the blessing that the Most High has allowed for us. But how we bless and how we move is through his work. All we are doing is just being a finished work for him. And each and every day, it's a little bit more of a polishing off and a polishing off and then another polishing off to the very end. We're all working towards perfection. But I'm telling you, family, I am very, very I'm very optimistic about next year. And when the Most High begins to turn things around, and he will, when it becomes apparent, we'll be able to see how good he is. But all we needed to do was meet him halfway. Because in the very end, obedience is always way better than sacrifice. All the time. Hallelujah. Family, I'll say this real quick in closing. If you'd like to support this channel, you could do so via Cash App at Covenant Awakenings or COVAWK1, COVAWK1, or you could do so via PayPal or Zelle at karac@msn.com. I appreciate your support, family. And more importantly, I appreciate your prayers. Because again, the prayers of the righteous, they availeth much. And let me tell you this, we also serve an awesome Heavenly Father. His name is Yahuwah, and we're covered under the blood of his son, Yahusha HaMashiach. So with that, family, let's get ready for this polar vortex and let's get ready for their fireworks. Because this is going to start to become very interesting. And yes, family, I do sincerely appreciate your prayers. I really do. Because more than anything, that's what helps me. That's what strengthens me. That's the fuel. And I appreciate that. And as you all pray for me, trust me, I pray for you all. So tomorrow I'll be back on. I may be on a little later just because I'm going to be up tonight. So giving you that heads up. But with that, fam, that's all I have. And most high willing, I'll see you all tonight over on Teo Ministries. Tonight over at Teo Ministries, starting at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And with that, family, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.